the class. Today we'll be studying the topic scale drawing. Scale drawing. What is scale drawing, if I may ask? So one can say that scale drawing is an enlarged or enlarged or reduced drawing that is similar to an actual object or place. Enlarged or reduced drawing that is similar to an actual object or place. Scale. We have just defined what scale drawing is. Then what is scale? Scale. Scale is the ratio of the model size to actual size. For example now, if you're asked to draw a building, a 3-story building, in a foolscap sheet like this, the size of that 3-story building cannot enter here in this sheet of foolscap I'm holding. But for you to draw it, you have to use a scale. You have to use a scale, and that scale is said to be model size to the actual size. The size you want to reduce it to, the ratio to the actual size of that scale, of that object, I mean to say, sorry. That is what we mean by scale. So look at this now. Before we go into scale properly, one has to do some revision on proportion. Proportion. Now let's look at an example on proportion. A map scale is 1 inch. Let's look at example on proportion. A map is 1 inch. 1 inch to 30 miles. The distance between two cities is 45 miles. This is the map. The map is 1 inch is to 30 miles. Then the distance between two cities is 45 miles. What is the distance between the cities on the map? So what you are going to do, the question says, what is the distance between the cities on the map? So what you are going to do now is 1 inch over 1 inch over 30 miles. 1 inch over 30 miles is equal to x inch over 45 miles. So that is the example on the proportion we're going to do. Now you cross multiply. When when you cross multiplication, we now have 45 times 1 is equals to x times 30. Then x now is equals to 45 over 30, which is 1.5. 45 over 30, which is 1.5 inch. So in the map, the two cities is going to be spaced 1.5 inch distance. So that is the example on the proportion we are going to look at before we go into the scaling properly. Let me take on the question again. They said a map scale is 1 inch is to 30 miles. The distance between two cities is 45 miles. What is the distance between the two cities on the map? So we use proportion, which is 1 inch over 30 miles is equal to s inch over 45 miles. Then when you do the cross multiplication, you have 1.5 inch. When you cross multiplication means this one will times this one, and this one will times this one. Then you now divide by 30 so that you make x the subject of formula to get your answer. Okay. Since it is not always possible to draw on a paper the actual size of a real life object, such as the real size of a car, the car or an aeroplane. If they say draw an aeroplane just as big as aeroplane, you cannot draw that size in a paper. So we are going to see how this car can be drawn in a sheet of paper. So in a real life, let's say that the size of this car in a real life is 240 inches. That is the size of this car in a real life. Are you there? Now, the length of this let's say, if you want to draw this car into this footstep, let's say that the length of this footstep is 12 inches. That is the length of this footstep, 12 inches. Now, if we want to know the number of footsteps that we are going to use to draw this car, since the length of this car in actual life or in a real life is 240, then if I want to draw it in this footstep sheet that has the length of 12 inches, I have to divide 240, which is the length of the car, by 12 inches, which is the length of the footstep, and this will give us 220. Now this 20 is the number of sheets, number of these footsteps that I will bring to draw this car into this paper. That is the number of sheet of paper I will bring to draw this car, which has 240 inches as a length, its real length, into a book, a sheet that has the length of 12 inches. Okay. So, in order to use just one sheet, instead of using 20 now, in order to use one sheet to draw this car, we have to say that 1 inch in our diagram is going to represent 20 inches. That is 1 inch is going to represent 20 inches. That is what you are going to say. In order to use just one of these instead of 20 of this thing, we are going to say that 1 inch will give us 20 inches in our diagram. Are you there? Okay. Then you can now write this situation as 1 is to 20. This dot 2 dot is or column is means is to in mathematics, or 1 over 20 or 1 to 20. That is the language we use to designate this in mathematics. 1 is to 20 or 1 over 20 or 1 to 20. Notice that the first number always refers to the length of the drawing on a paper. Like I say, 1 is to 20. This number refers to the length of the drawing, on a paper. Then this one refers to the length of the real life object. Real life object. So this one stands for length of the drawing on a paper, while this one stands for length of the drawing, length of the real life object. Okay. Now let's see on how to use scale drawing to solve real life problem. So what we want to look at now is how to use scaling to solve real life problems. The first example here says, suppose a problem tells you that the length of a vehicle is drawn to scale. The scale of the diagram is now scale of the diagram is 1 is to 20. That is the scale of the diagram. If the length of the diagram of the drawing of the if the length of the drawing of the vehicle on paper is 12, so length of drawing is 12 inches. Length of drawing on paper equals to 12 inches. How long is the vehicle in real life? So this is the question. The scale is 1 is to 20. Length of drawing on the paper is 12 inches. Now, how long is what? The length of the vehicle. So Solution. This is the way you set up your calculation. Length of drawing over real length is equals to 1/20. That is the formula you always use. Length of drawing over real length is equals to 1/20. Okay. Now let's say the length of the drawing is 12 over the real life, let's give the real life x, the real life length, I mean to say, is equals to 1/20. Then cross multiplication, you now have 12 times 220, which is 1 times x. So x now is equals to 240 inches. So this is the real length of the car in the question, or the vehicle. Then another question says, as question number example 2. Example 2 says, the scale drawing of this tree, a tree. We have a tree. This is the tree. The length of this tree is given to be 20 inches. That is the height. The height of the tree is this. So the question says, the scale drawing of this tree is, the scale is 1:500. One is to 500. That is the scale. If the height of the tree on a paper is 20 inches, so that is height of tree on a paper is equal to 20 inches. Okay, 20 inches. Okay, what is the height of the tree in real life? What is the height of this tree on real life? Because this is already on this paper. It's already on this paper. So they want us to find the height of the tree on real life if the scale is given to be 1:500. So what do you do? This formula, the formula says height of drawing all over real height of tree, which is equal to 1/500. Now what is the height of the drawing? That is 20 over x is equals to 1 over 500. Are you there? Now, when you cross multiply here, this will now give us 20 times 500 is equals to 1 times x. Then x is equals to 10,000. X is 10,000 inches. In the calculation, we have gotten the real size or real height of this tree to be 10,000 inches, as you can see in on the board. So we are going to stop here. I believe with these two examples, when you are given any question on scale drawing, you'll be able to handle it. Then here are two examples you will do. It's already in the note given to you. So the two examples is likely the same as given here on the board. So when you solve it, you will see they are all the same. See you in our next class. Thank you. To the prayers of your children.